I'm definitely excited for the questions. So if there's any questions, we're here to answer them.
Okay, Mo wants to know, can you please talk a bit more about, repeat, going into the position change report and then updating your title? Didn't fully understand that. So I think what Mo's asking, Paul, is for you to explain a little bit more about the meta title.
All
I
right.
guess I can take that question too,
Right.
if you want.
So can you tell me his name one more time?
Mo.
Mo, that's a great question, and I'll love to answer it. And so I don't know if you see my screen, but here's the gist of it. So what happens is you write an article, and that article is targeting one main term, like how long does it take to get six-pack? And that's the term that you're targeting. That's in your meta title. I'll get to that in a moment. And then you rank for that term. But in that article, you hit on all the other terms. And so if you're targeting bodybuilding, you're talking about supplements. And so what you start to see is, oh my God, this article is now ranking for other terms that are in my keyword group. That is amazing. So in the positions change report, inside of actually, and then I have a screenshot right here, Carrie's going to open it. In the position change report, what you're going to see is when you put in your domain, you're going to be able to see these other keywords that are not on page 1, but they're on page 3, and they're on page 4, and they're on page 2. That screenshot right there, leveling up. And you're going to say, wow, that's great. How do I get on page 1 for those terms, those additional terms? And this is where the meta title comes in. So what the meta title is that's the last screenshot. There's a title that Google sees. So when you do a Google search right now, when you put in a keyword like get six-pack abs, you're going to see a big link. And that link is the meta title. That is not the same title of your article. When you click it on that link, you see a big, usually like a black bolded headline. That is not the same title. It can be, but it also could be different. So what you do is you take that keyword that you saw in that position change report and you put it in that meta title. And as soon as you do that, what you're going to start to discover is that keyword starts to rank in the SERPs because you're piggybacking of the quote-unquote existing trust that Google gave that article in your domain, and you start ranking for the other domains. And then guess what? You rank for that second keyword, you start updating it with the third keyword. And this is why when I told you to, I mentioned that in the beginning, that your goal is to be the best at answering people's questions. And so if you think about a general topic like bodybuilding, and then you have a keyword like supplements in there, you can always go back and update that article. You can include links to other articles, and you can always go back to the main article that holds all of the links for like the subcategories, the subtopics of the main topic, if that makes sense. And you can update that article and start ranking that article. Don't be afraid to go back and change that same article over and over and over again. Mo, I hope that made sense. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. And you could always email me and find me on Twitter, ask me a question. I can't help it. I'd love to answer it. I love SEO.
We've got a couple extra questions. So can you show the URL again for the free SEMrush Pro trial? I have copied and pasted that link into the chat. So if you check out the chat, you should just be able to click right on that. And we have a couple of other questions too. Can I get a copy of the slides? Yes, you can get a copy of the slides. We will be emailing out, I think it's going to go out tomorrow, but everyone's going to get a replay of this. And you'll also have access to the slides. There is another question. Andrew wants to know, what is the best time frame, or what is the time frame that we have to use the code before it expires? Paul, do you know the answer to that question?
Yes, I believe it's 14 days. So 14 days, and it's going to expire, and you get a free trial, free 30-day trial. So you have 14 days to use it, but I would use it now, immediately. Just get your 30 days.
Go check it out. Honestly, you're going to geek out over this because it's going to teach you things that you didn't know about your website. There's just a lot of information in there, and it's going to better inform your strategy and make your strategy more effective. How long, so Ruth wants to know, how long does the SEO research take to get an article out?
So with SEMrush, it could take 30 minutes because with SEMrush, you can either export a CSV with all of those keywords, And then if you're writing an article, you can start filtering through in your CSV report by volume and by those different metrics. And then you can start building those themed groups. What created the issues in the past was that in order for me to even compile that list, I would have to look at related searches and suggested searches. And with SEMrush, you just get one source of your data. And it just makes life a lot easier, and you don't even need an Excel file. You can do it through the interface as well. So it's just your personal preference. Hope that answers your question.
Jordan wants to know, how does keyword research change for a company that puts out content about a lot of various topics? For example, restaurants one day, technology the next. Does each article have a chance to rank well if the rest of the site's content is different?
Right. The answer is yes. What I would do is when you have your main homepage, right? Your main homepage would likely have one keyword associated with it. So if you have like a really generalized website, maybe like I forgot the name, like a how-to website, you would have your homepage maybe with the main subject matters like technology, etc., that you're targeting, and then you would have subcategories, and those subcategories would go into your niches. So if I was talking about bodybuilding, I would create a subcategory of bodybuilding, and that would be the main hat for categories under bodybuilding. So under those categories, I would structure everything like six-pack abs, etc. I hope that made sense. So you have your main category, which is your main subject, and your subcategories are those related phrases that are semantically linked in the eyes of Google. I heard a quote before, it's not about strings, it came from a lead from SEMrush, I forgot his name. It's not about things, it's about strings. So you want to think about subjects. Your category is a subject. So bodybuilding is a main subject, and you want to, in that main categories article, you want to provide the best answer to that question around bodybuilding. So naturally, in order to provide a best answer, all your subcategories will be under that category, like protein, etc., because they complement bodybuilding. And in bodybuilding main category, you would link out to all the subcategories, because in order to get a full answer in bodybuilding, guess what? You have to read all of these other articles. Does that make sense? It's about things, not strings. Think about subjects.
We've got one last question from Mo, and Mo wants to know, how often should you keep changing the meta title?
The meta title. So I would leave it the same until you see that your keywords in your group, based on the change report that we just showed you, start to creep up. As soon as you see that your keywords are on page 3, page 4, I would change it. Specifically the meta title. All right.
I think that that's really good advice, and it's really important, guys. I can't underscore this enough. SEO is not a one and done thing. Just because you wrote an article that you've researched the hell out of great keywords for and you've implemented them correctly, like, your work is not done. 6 months later, 3 months later, revisit that page, see what keywords it's currently starting to rank for that it wasn't before. Are you slipping in any positions? And if you notice these things, then you can take steps to either rectify the situation or put your results into overdrive and really generate the most organic traffic possible from your SEO efforts. But again, you have to continually revisit your content. You have to look at a variety of factors, your backlinks, how the social sharing situation for your post. All of that really influences how well you're able to rank. And SEMrush makes it really easy for you to notice changes in real time and then adjust your strategy accordingly.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Carrie knows a lot. She has an immense amount of knowledge in the topic, so she'll be able to answer questions in her mastermind group about everything that we just discussed and go into more detail.
I sure hope so. So I think that wraps the webinar. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to email me or email Paul. Definitely head over to SEMrush. Check it out. Spend an hour in there. You're going to learn some stuff. And if you still have questions, the mastermind group is going to have you covered. So thank you very much for taking an hour out of your day to listen to us talk about SEO. Hopefully you got some real value out of this. It's something that we focus on providing in webinars, because there's nothing that I hate more than fluffy webinars that don't provide actionable information. So hopefully this was not that for you, and I look forward to seeing you all on future webinars. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.